are live in the live stream, doing the live stream, doing the stuff and the things. And the live stream, my toe hurts because I wiped out right before I started the live stream. So that was fun and great. So happy that happened in the live stream.
If you didn't know, it's a live stream.
It's a live stream. It's a live stream. Drawing a blank because my brain don't work in a live stream. I've been watching zombie stuff lately.
Zombie stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been on that.
I don't do zombies. I would not do well in a zombie apocalypse.
Dude, I hate, sometimes I get like zombie apocalypse dreams and they're the most terrifying. Like they're just awful. But like
I would die. I feel like you could live, but I would die.
I wouldn't make it. I love watching, and I would love if there was like a series just dedicated to the fall of humanity. Like Outbreak starts and like that, because it's always like you get like that 5 minute clip with so many shows and movies, like that 5 minute clip of like when it first happens, and then boom, 10 years later. Wait, like I want to see all of like the government's. I would watch a show that it's just that collapse, that is everything like between like things happening and where that jump usually is. Like let me watch society crumble. Let's see how it crumbles. Let's see how the infection spreads, how people learn about it. Let's see people going about their normal day-to-day lives like it's a pandemic, wearing masks or whatever in the early stages, trying to act like everything is normal, and then it's not. Like I would watch that TV show. I would watch it. Assuming it's done well, obviously. But no, I wouldn't like a zombie apocalypse.
I would die. No. Honestly, it would be at that point that I'm like, let's go.
I don't know.
Let's go drink the Kool-Aid.
I don't know.
I could not do it. I couldn't do it.
You wouldn't want to be attacked and
I
like,
would,
eaten
no.
and bitten by a zombie.
No.
Anything
I
but
would
that.
Not. Anything but that. Please.
I can't say I completely disagree, honestly.
I want to have control over how I go. I know I'm going to go. I want to have control over it.
And it's the type of thing is like, you like to believe that we wouldn't find ourselves in a post-apocalyptic situation. Like, we'd figure it out and figure out some kind of... No, we wouldn't. Humans are incompetent. We wouldn't be able to figure anything out.
There's some people that are, like, fucking super prepared for the shit. Fucking bunkers and supplies stocked.
Oh, yeah.
They'd do fine. We would die.
I would die.
I would die.
I can,
full on.
try to board up the house. I'd be alright until, like, we run out of food. Do you guys think Trump gives Keithy... that's a good question. I'm not gonna answer that on stream. And we're gonna go ahead and remove that post. I'm gonna let you stay, because we don't really, we don't really go too deep into stuff on stream. But it's a valid question. It's a valid question. Like, did you just slide down the slide?
I did.
Did you hurt yourself?
My foot in the process.
Well, it is
static or whatever.
It's not political. It's sexual. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's why it got removed. I don't really mind political. This is definitely not a politics channel. You want to talk politics, I'm definitely not the guy to do it with. But, yeah, politics we can do. But, like, sexual stuff, I gotta cut that. But, still a valid question. The opening question, still, it's valid. It's valid. It's all awful. Not having fun. Not having fun in this country.
How dare I forget the stars and moon? I'm out of practice.
Yeah, I don't know what you got going on there, but not in a live stream. Then how the hell are we supposed to talk about politics if we can't talk about anything sexual? You know what? That's a valid question too. It's a valid question too.
Kitten.
Because apparently you can't separate the two. Kitten. Kitten.
Does anyone else in chat have cats who give you issues trying to clip their nails? Because I have 3 of them, and they all act differently clipping their nails.
What are you doing? I'm on a live stream.
That was the thing.
I'm sitting on the interwebs on a live stream. That's what I'm doing. I don't play zombies. Ah. Did you know that Bible prophecies are continuing to be fulfilled? Did you see, we're not going to drop names, but did you see a certain family member comment on your Northern Lights post?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I did.
So the Northern Lights are a thing. The aurora, the word that I can't say because I can't say my R's. We got that big, solar storm or whatever that came and messed with the auroras more to where we could see it all the way down here in Kansas, and it was great. And like we took pictures and photos. And Taylor, my wife, posted it online, and she, one of our family members commented.
Here's one of my photos. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, that's at night.
Yeah.
There's just the red auroras.
And green.
Cool. And green, yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the family members commented, like, God's miraculous work. You're being summoned again. God's miraculous work. It's like, it's not God's miraculous work.
I practice with the whole bedtime routine. I'm usually working.
It's just solar nesses hitting the Earth's protective field. What's up?
The child is requesting a bedtime snack.
She got some applesauce if she wants, or yogurt. Either way, I got more yogurt.
No. I did not want her to hear you.
I don't know what Helldivers is. How old are you? Almost 28. Almost.
You're getting applesauce. Because
Creation in Genesis uses a greater light and lesser light instead of names for the sun and moon, which are names of astral gods of texts. Deliberately undermine pagan myths. Maybe.
Here's Tinklefoot.
I did not say. Political is fine. Sexual content we don't need to talk about. That's always my favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's always something that I love about Genesis. It's like God created a greater light to govern the day and a lesser light to govern the night, even though the moon, the lesser light, is out during the day like half the time. Yeah, nothing sexual about the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Nothing. But we can talk about it because we should, and those files should just be released with everything and anything in them. We can scrub the victims' names, but everything else, just needs to be published and made public to the public. And it's absolutely ridiculous that it's been taking this long. And it's, the Senate voted unanimously to go ahead and release it. Now it gets the president's desk. I'm just like, we're just taking our time, aren't we? I was like, release the fucking files. Like, release the files. It should have been done long ago. Absolutely ridiculous. Hey man, how's it going? It's going alright. Abrahamic God is originally a lesser deity with polytheistic pantheon, was elevated to a supreme singular deity, causes tribalism, as you versus them. This is evident Yahweh is a worshipable or deity. Makes sense. I do know that there's reason to believe that ancient Hebrews worshipped more than one god, that it was more of a polytheistic religion. God also had a wife. Adam had a wife before Eve. You know, there's a lot that kind of got taken out of the narrative over time. Things got changed and whatnot. What can you do? I hear my foot too.
That was from going down the sun. So it wasn't like static. I like fucking.
I did something like that. It was a bouncy castle like water slide thing. I went down it when it was dry, which we were doing, and it was fine. But somebody was splashing. A kid was like putting a bunch of water at the bottom of it because there was like a puddle of water on the ground, and he was like putting a bunch on it. And I'm just like, I don't want to get wet. And it's like I'm sliding down, and like I see he's doing this, so I go to try to stop myself, and I'm barefoot, so I like get on my knees to like try to stop myself, and I just like shred. I burn the skin off of like spots on the top of my feet and my knee and everything. It hurt. It fucking hurt.
That's exactly what I did on the slide right there.
I should have just slid through the water, you know. My butt would have gotten wet, but it would have been better. Well, then I wouldn't have a story, you know, of the time that I burned the skin off of my feet. I think the southern tribes needed to explain why the northern tribes got wiped out, so they were like, obviously our God is stronger. Sometimes that's how it works. Don't you think it's super nice if Trump released those files? He's so nice to the Democrats. I don't know why they hate him. He even gave Bill, yeah. He's just so great. He's such a great guy. You should really just release the files. I mean, that would just be even better. Hey Taylor, did you know that Bible prophecies are continuing to be fulfilled today?
Where are your sources?
Where are your sources? Solid answer. A specific, non-ambiguous prophecy that can only be fulfilled one way. After he releases the files, we all get $2,000 and he will be going door to door. You know what? I'll take the $2,000.
Well, if everyone gets it, then we'll get like
he's just so great. Best president ever. Great president. All the other countries agree. He just really is amazing. Best president ever had. So much better than the other presidents. Taking both, that's a bargain. Hey, to each their own. Smokies. I got a kitten. I got a kitten. God has entered the chat. Catholics wrote the Quran and Hadith with which the manuscripts are in the Vatican vault.
God himself?
Damn, we gotta storm the Vatican.
God himself in the chat?
Well, shit, there he is. You know, there he is. There's the, you know, the myth and the legend. The being, the myth, and the legend.
Where you been?
Yeah, where have you been? Dionysus and Christ both resurrected, performed miracles, alleviated humanity from suffering, and belief in a God of Abraham is deeply intertwined with folklore. As stories of God in Torah, Bible, Quran is the myth. I don't like it when you do that, and I don't understand why you like it when you do that. She just like grinds her face and her face bones and like her teeth and mouth against like the corner of this table, and you hear just like a popping sound as she just grinds it across. I don't know why she does that. My cat, by the way, is who I'm talking about, in case that wasn't. You actually just put the camera on the cat? No. This live stream is about me. Inside your hearts since your birth.
Oh, that's where he's been?
A hell of a hiding spot, man. I mean, I guess no one's gonna think to check there. Peanut. 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 There's another kitty. I had a Christian tell me that the consensus about what is allegory is irrelevant and all the bad stuff is clearly metaphor. And I was like, those same people are how we know Jesus wasn't a metaphor. Yeah. It's... People get this idea of like, oh, I got this good, loving God. So therefore, the Bible needs to reflect that. So if you're reading the Bible and it says something that he's doing that's terrible, well, that can't be accurate. So they got to twist and manipulate it and define something. You know, all the terrible stuff is clearly a metaphor. Doesn't matter what's real and what not. Because you get a few camps. You get people who think that. You get people who think the Bible's nonsense, but you get people who think that like the entire book is like accurate historically accurate, cover to cover, and then there are people who say, well, some of it is metaphor and allegory, and some of it is legit. And then you get disputes over which parts. The parts you don't like are the parts that aren't legit. You can just twist it however you might like. It's clearly a metaphor. You're taking it out of context. You love it. You love to see it. Not really. It's kind of annoying. Because it's easy to just stand here and preach your religion and get into debates when you're just making shit up as you go along. Because a lot of Christianity is, and a lot of religion is that too. Just, nobody really knows what they're talking. There are thousands of different denominations of Christianity. Hi, mixed. Each with their own varying ideas on what God is, what he wants, all of this stuff, what a Christian is, all this stuff. And then within those denominations, there's however many people who also have their own different ideas on what God is, what he wants, what a Christian is, and all of that stuff. It kind of sounds like nobody knows what they're doing, and a lot of people are just making it up as they go along. A lot of people haven't even read the Bible. So it's just like, it all just comes out of your ass at the end of the day. And I used to do the same thing. I would be able to come up with any kind of excuse or explanation for anything about God off the top of my head. Because, you know, whatever feels right, you know, what God is putting in my heart based on scripture or whatever. No, I was making shit up as I went along. Because that's how you can win. And then you just ignore facts and data and things that go against your worldview, and bada bing, bada boom, you're religious. It's great. I would like to accept moderator status now. Thank you. I don't know. Maybe one of these days. I have a subject that you may or may not have insight on. Was Mary a Levite? I have heard the theory around, but I can only find one reference to her maybe being related to a Levite woman. I don't think the Bible says. You get the two different genealogies of Jesus in the different gospel, or no, not the different gospels. The gospel is someone else in two different areas. Not that I should know this, you know. And people explain it away of one of them is Joseph's genealogy and one of them is Mary's genealogy. It doesn't really work. But it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it really says anything about Mary being a Levite. don't give it to me, I will ban everyone. I mean, hey, just shut it all down and go to bed. Why not? I have been a little low energy and not too motivated lately. Like you might notice I haven't been making a whole lot of posts lately because life has just been lifing lately, and I have been drowning in just BS and life and adulting, to where I haven't had the time, the energy, or really the mental focus to be able to make any video, even just a dumb short. One of my dumb shorts. I just haven't had the mental capacity or time to do any of that. So I apologize that I've been lacking on videos and stuff. I've been trying to make up for it in like little posts here and there, and making sure I'm doing my live streams, but my head's been elsewhere. Just life, adulting. It's so much fun.
It's the best.
Where is the woman? The wife woman?
I don't know how I feel about that.
She's here.
The woman. I have a name. Do you not remember my name? You better. You better.
The Y chromosome
Yeah,
is...
the Taylor woman.
Yeah, the Taylor woman. Yeah, the Taylor woman.
Oh.
Yeah, you know that one. That one.
Gee, thanks.
The Y chromosome is supplied from God via miracle in the appearance of an angel. Cool. Why should I believe that? Evidence in the Torah Quran didn't emerge in isolation, rather from their socio-political and cultural environments by altering regional stories and themes to align with their theological imperatives. Sounds about right, honestly. I mean, that's at least a part of what happened. You better tell him, girl, they can't compete with they don't compare. Yeah. You came in early last week and got promoted. Is that what happened? No. No, yeah, not even that. It's just life. Like, not even good things. Life sucks. And you just have
One of those things
lot
being
of
jury
adulting.
duty.
Yeah, one of those things being someone for jury duty.
Got released, but
Got released. Was there all day. We didn't even get to the jury selection process, which if you know what jury duty is in the whole process, we didn't even get to the jury selection process. I left there at 1. I walked in the door at like 7:30, and I left at 1, shortly after 1. And we didn't even get to the selection process. I don't even know what the case was. It was like 80% just sitting around waiting. And the other parts, they showed us a video about, why it's such a great thing to be on jury duty, and then they explained a couple things. Shuffled us around in the seating. They said that it was going to be to help choose the jurors later on. And then it just, didn't work. Which I'm not going to complain about, And I mean, jury duty is one of those things where it's it's important to have the jury. I understand why it is. It's an inconvenience to everyone. But, so if I happen to be chosen for the jury, I would take it seriously and whatnot. But, if I can leave, that works too, If I don't have to do it, that's good too. I did see the news about the Epstein files. We were talking about that a little bit ago. It's just annoying more than anything. It's like they voted unanimously, and now it's got to go to the president's desk. Why haven't they been released yet? I feel like there's just a bunch of pit-puttering around. I feel like that's all that's going on here. It's just batting it forwards. Oh, we're doing it. And then, we try to forget about it for, another month or so. It's just kind of whatever. I want those files released, but I don't have confidence that it's going to do anything. Could you just say you're an autism and they may set you free? Only if you're declared incompetent. And there are plenty of autistic people who are fully competent and able to serve on a jury. Two most important places to vote: ballot box and jury box. Yeah. Like that's what I was saying. Like I'm not trying to like knock jury duty too bad, because like it's important. You know, it is. But like, if they didn't want me to do it, hey, I'm not gonna complain too loudly. Mark Epstein, Jeff's brother, said he has inside knowledge that the current administration has had the files altered. Oh, you know they have. Oh, you know they have. I mean, fuck. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh, scream, and cry when after all this time they finally release it. You know, 2 years from now when they finally release it, and there's not a single Republican anywhere in the files. Like bull. You know, that's what I'm waiting for. Honestly, I'm waiting for them to release it and for it to be so clearly biasly altered, and them just trying to like pass it off. That's stupid. Stupid. What was really fun was when Trump posted on Truth Social, his social media thing, and saying, "Hey, stop talking about the files," and even like everyone, because everyone on that app is like a Trump supporter, or they're like me, who's just there to watch what the president posts. But even like all of his fans and people that love him are like respectfully disagreeing with him in the comment section. Like, bro got respectfully ratioed hard on that post, and it was quite funny to watch. We all know what's going on here. Papa T is an enthusiastic Epstein enjoyer, and he doesn't want outed. So it's getting kicked around until he can come up with a way to cover his ass. I don't know. I thought the undercover FBI or whatever thing story was pretty clever. Trump did nothing wrong will be plastered on the front page of the files. It literally in like the list of people who have visited, there'll be a name that's just not Trump, you know. Mixed, we don't talk about, you know, sexual stuff, but we did bring that up earlier. That thing. The thing with the person.
You said we don't talk about, and immediately I'm just like, we don't talk about.
We don't talk about it.
I haven't seen that movie in a minute.
There's more evidence of God than there is evidence that there is any list, any meaningful files, anything. And there is no proof of God. Yeah. I don't even know. I just want pedophiles to stop being protected and to go to prison and shit. And I want people to stop touching kids. And that's a big ask, apparently. You know, that's a big thing to ask of people, apparently. Apparently that's, you know, controversial for a lot of people. It's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think people that touch kids should at least be imprisoned for an extended period of time, maybe forever. You know, I don't know. I'm not a judge, but you know, if they rot in prison, you know, I'd just be personally, I think that'd be fine. I don't give a shit who's on the list. You want to know who's on the list? You want to know who's on the list? Pedophiles. That's who's on the list. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Epstein was arrested. He killed himself. What more can be done? We can prosecute the people on the list. People who visited and partook. People who were touching kids on his island. We can get them called out and prosecuted. There's no list. That's who is on the list. Either there is or there isn't. Wouldn't it be crazy if there wasn't? Wouldn't it be crazy? But it kind of sounds like there is. and I kind of just want it released. No, Epstein was killed. Yeah, it's just shady and stupid all around. Release the files and we'll know for sure. Release the files, unedited. The only editing that should be done is scrubbing out victims' names. We don't need to put all of them on blast. But everything else, I can disagree that he is dead. I haven't seen a body. He transferred almost half $1 billion to his brother's bank account a day before he died. Isn't that interesting? It's just fucking stupid. It's just fucking stupid. It's just... And I don't know. I'm also one of those people, to all the politicians, not just Republicans, but all the politicians, just trying to cover their ass and, hide what they did on that island and hide other things that they've done. I'm an accountability type of person. If I fuck up somehow and that causes pain, I know it's going to cause even more pain if I try to run from it or hide from it or bury it or dismiss the victims or anything like that. Like, that's just me. If I hurt someone, I would come forward and accept the consequences and bing, bang, boom, let it be done right then and there. We don't need to drag it out. We don't need to make the victim suffer more. So it's just weird for me to see how much people will wiggle and squirm and deny when we know that they've done shady shit. It's like, dude, just fucking come out. Just admit what you did, So coming back to the proof of God, don't you think your desire for accountability is proof of God? No. The idea of justice, not just that the universe is indifferent. No, I know that the universe is indifferent, but humans have a social structure where we all work together. And what happens to one of us affects the rest of us. And so we can't just live in a society where we're just allowing this stuff to happen, allowing shitty things to happen, because then it's not safe for us, it's not safe for our loved ones, it's not safe for other people who we recognize, whom we might not know, but we recognize are also human beings with the same rights and value as we have. The universe is indifferent. The universe doesn't give a fuck. But we as a society can give a fuck to try to have structure, safety, and security, and prosperity as a society. That's where ideas like justice and morality came from, is us figuring out, hey, how can we get the most out of our existence here? How can we do this work together society thing in the best way that is advantageous for everyone? So yeah, that's what I think. That's my answer. There's a little pumpkin in the corner. So there's a little pumpkin. Little pumpkin on my shelf. I got fall stuff up. Can't really see it. What's the leaves up here? Oh, those little pumpkins. That's what it is. There's little, you can see, the tops of them, little pumpkins with, straw bows on them. Yeah, but it goes beyond society. Do you think it's just if Jeffrey Epstein gets away with it? Well, I mean, first off, he's dead. So, he didn't get away with shit. If there is no God or any divine anything or afterlife, he's dead and he's ended the only existence that he gets. So, that's pretty final and, not getting away with it. But other than that, yeah. I don't believe he gets any kind of eternal torture or anything. So, if he wants to just die and end it there, then that's it. He gets away with it. Sucks. Because the universe is indifferent, as far as we can tell. If there's no God or anything like that, the universe is indifferent. And people do... If somebody wanted to die, and they... took a bomb to a crowded room and blew themselves up and 20 other people, they die and get away with it. And they get everything that they want. Yes. And that sucks. The universe is only indifferent in the sense that humanity isn't indifferent. Desire for accountability is just the natural progression of basic traits that increase our species' fitness.
Don't I have just an amazing dinner?
The worst.
A Capri Sun?
She's got a juice pouch
And ramen noodles.
and ramen noodles. I don't know. I think morality is at least possible evidence of God, because without our sense of morality, we would essentially devolve into utilitarianism. Do you agree with utilitarianism? I need a reminder of what utilitarianism is. But morality is just, like I said, just something we figured out to make things work better for everyone. So there's no justice for Epstein. The universe is just indifferent. Looks like it, yeah. Morality is not evidence for God, it's evidence for human empathy. Don't worry, Mark, I can't type either. Actions are just if they produce the greatest happiness and minimize the most pain. I can argue with that. That's utility. If they produce the greatest happiness and minimize the most pain. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I'm terrible with definitions or worldviews or whatever, so I don't know what this would be, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm close when it comes to utilitarianism, but just not quite. Because I don't always love what that can entail. I want to take care of everyone if we can. To take care of every person if we can. Not just like the most people we can. If that makes any sense. I'm so gay it is crazy. Nice, let's go. Morality is, again, a trait that increases a species' cooperation and survivability, being expressed in a species with the intelligence to ponder its implications. Yay, hell yeah. And there is something to be said about just humans becoming so intelligent that they can think about stuff like that they can come up with this idea of a God and some divine law and divine order, and help them come up with these ideas like order and justice and morality, as if there were some higher being, even if there's not. Well, I appreciate your thinking on that. I just don't think that the greater idea of justice in the world is just a form of society caring for itself. Agree to disagree. There's just numbers and letters being thrown around. I like twunks the most. I'm no longer attracted to twinks. What's a twunk? What's that? I've heard it before, and I've come across it before, but I don't quite remember. Taylor, do you know what a twunk is?
Do not.
She does not. Do you believe in Jesus? I don't really have an issue believing in a guy who existed, made some claims, gained a following, and got executed. I don't really have an issue with that. Beyond that, no. Especially don't believe any of the supernatural aspects of Jesus.
I'm inclined to think that it's inclined to think that it's like a combination of twink and hunk. Twunk.
I don't know. Why is Jesus called the second Adam? Why is Jesus called the second Adam? Maybe you can enlighten us.
I got it.
She got it? Did she get it? Damn. Alright.
Smart.
So yeah, I can see the appeal in that then. I can see the appeal. Makes me wonder about the possibility of a third Adam. There are 3 books of Enoch. Maybe. How far down the rabbit hole can we go? Yeah, twink and hunk combo.
Fucking got it.
He is real and he did do supernatural things. Do we have any evidence of that? Muscular yet slim. You know, I've kind of been going for that. For myself, just like trying to gain some more muscles. I have a high metabolism, so I can't produce fat, so I'm just kind of always going to be skinny until it slows down, if it does. But I need some more muscle slapped on. The Holy Spirit is real. I don't know. I don't have a reason to believe that. Yes, the Bible, good sir. The Bible isn't evidence for anything. The Bible is a book of claims, most of which are unverified. Yeshua is the Messiah. What do you know about the 3 books of Enoch? Nothing. Nothing, I'll be honest. The evidence for God, fairy, and leprechauns are equally poor. You know, that line of thinking is what helped me become an atheist. Like, at the tail end, when I was like, I knew I didn't have any reason to believe, and I didn't really believe, but I was still kind of holding on to beliefs. The understanding that we have as much reason to believe in God as we do the tooth fairy, you know, or fairies, or leprechauns, or, you know, unicorns, or stuff like that, is like what helped me to get like that final stepping stone into atheism. There is geological proof. What would that proof be? Provide epistemic justification for the law of uniformity of nature from your materialistic paradigm. See, I don't need to come up with a better explanation to deem your explanation as insufficient. That's the fun thing about it. Because we don't fully understand, you know, how everything came to be, how it seems pretty uniform to some extent or whatever. But just because we don't know how it works doesn't mean it has to have been a god. We still have no evidence of a god, so we can't pin that stuff on him when we have no reason to believe in him. And just because I don't know how this could have worked is not evidence for a god. Also, uniformity of nature, I would say, comes about of just how the universe works. And if the universe worked any different, nature might be different. Or we might not have existed at all. We could exist in some world where we have 4 arms and 2 heads and 5 eyes, and we could be having the exact same conversations about how everything is perfect. But we also have no idea how things could have been different. We have no examples of other universes, other ways where it could have been different. So as far as we know, this is the only way that things could have been. And it just came about this way because it was how the universe worked, and everything kind of fits how the universe worked and came about from it. How did we come to be? So as far as life from non-life, we don't have all the answers to that, but just because we don't have all the answers doesn't mean it has to have been a god. I was traumatized as a child and have been hypersexual, hence the anger conversation. Fair. I have not heard of that mixed. But unicorns and leprechauns don't matter. They don't have any claims on life. The resurrection is important. $1 under my pillow does not. But you do have to understand that unicorns and leprechauns and other mystical beings have been used throughout history and believed in and believed to have in some kind of interaction with the world, and therefore were thought to be something very important that had impacts on people's lives. God is multidimensional, right? Depends on the God you're talking about. So is Satan real? I don't have any reason to believe he is. Doesn't mean... I'm falling behind on chat, forgive me. The resurrection is only important to you for totally subjective reasons. As far as I'm concerned, the claim Jesus resurrected is exactly as important as my pillow dollar. You can't say otherwise. Yeah. Jesus having resurrected, and therefore I have a chance of going to heaven, is about the same thing as hearing that Santa's going to bring me presents. Honestly. And the idea that if I don't follow Christianity, I will burn in hell for all of eternity carries about as much weight as if I'm a bad boy, Santa will bring me coal. And that's not to be condescending, that's not to be mean or rude, that's genuinely how I feel. That's genuinely how little how unconcerned I am with this whole heaven hell idea. Satan did nothing wrong until he gets slapped with some of the chat move. Sorry, Satan did nothing wrong until he gets slapped with some BS in Revelation. He was a functionary of God. The whole Bible. I'm a nonviolent person because of this. My enemies keep trying to get under my skin. What do? It makes me insane. People try to get under my skin. I just kind of don't let them. I just kind of let shit roll off. Hello. Satan did the first sin. Did he, though? It's funny to hear that fork scrape the bowl next to you while you pause.
Just wait till you hear me finish the Capri Sun.
Gonna have a moment of silence when you hear The question we should be asking is, how did Satan sin if he was perfect beyond being beyond time? Something very important. I question that. I think made-up creatures have never had importance. Realistically, no. But as far as what people believe and how people structure their lives and things that people do with the beliefs that if they don't do this thing, something bad's going to happen from this mystical creature, does have an impact. The ideas have an impact. I don't think Santa's ever left anyone cold. But the idea of, hey, Timmy, if you aren't being good, you're just going to get coal for Christmas, does have an impact on how people live their lives and how people function. And other mythical creatures do the same, including adults with other things, and not just with the God thing. That's silly. We just spoke about justice, and you want to say $1 is the same as the resurrection? I don't believe in either of them. They did. Mythical creatures have been worshipped and feared as long as humans have been around. No, it's if you don't believe in Jesus, Jesus Christ is our salvation. No, it's if you don't believe in Jesus, Jesus Christ is our salvation. Yeah, I don't believe in Jesus. To clarify, you are saying that God is a mythical creature. As far as we can tell, yes. That's about all I take him for. He said he was going to be God and overthrow him. He was prideful. Was that what it was? At the core of the conversation, the belief in God, or lack thereof, is not something that can necessarily be proven or disproven. It comes down to an evidential argument. I agree. So how was the universe made? Did man make the universe? No. We're a product of the universe. God is a mythical deity, which is a distinct category, but he falls under the same umbrella, yes. We have all the kitties out here.
Yeah.
Kittens.
All the keys.
Kittens. Hi. Pet the kitten. Then what made the universe?
Right?
Can't say I have that answer.
Why?
Meow.
Hey.
Snickers. And Peanut wants attention now, too. I started petting her. Smokey, you want some buttocks? You want some pets and loves? Odd
You're
kitties.
I'm petting Snickers, but she's looking at you the whole time.
The issue is the importance of the resurrection over the leprechauns. If justice matters, then the resurrection, in a way, the resurrection matters in a way the leprechauns don't. What if someone believes in leprechauns but doesn't believe in Jesus or anything? Because these are both, as far as I can tell, just fictional stories with no bearing whatsoever. In a world where you can believe in both of them, I can see there being one that sounds more important, but we have no reason to believe in either of them. Nothing, it has always existed, and probably will always exist, or at least to the best of our understanding. Do you white people listen to Sweet Home Alabama by Donald Trump? Can't say I do. Okay, just look at us, humans, how intricate we are. What made us? Abiogenesis, somehow. Don't understand all of that. And then evolution by means of natural selection. We evolved into this thanks to billions of years of evolutionary pressure. Okay, what started it billions of years ago? Like I said, abiogenesis. We were here, and then we started reproducing, and then evolution. The resurrection has no objective relationship with justice. That's just something Christians made up. Yeah. So the resurrection is a more important concept than leprechauns because of justice, or is it not? I don't think a story about a God sacrificing himself to save the world from a system that he created that all went downhill with an incident in a garden that was 100% his fault. Just for him to get back up a couple days later like nothing happened, walk around talking to people, let someone stick their fingers in his wounds like it's a party trick, and then skip back up to heaven like nothing happened, doesn't seem like any kind of sacrifice or justice or anything. It just seems like some whole big egotistical look at me, look at what I did for you display. That's my thoughts on the resurrection. On his death and resurrection.
Can you say hi to chat?
Abiogenesis has kind of been so there's amino acid chains or bases that we have been able to make from random elements off the periodic table in a lab. Getting from there to like actual complex proteins and all that stuff, we haven't filled all of those gaps, but that is, what proteins are made of, is these amino acid chains. The Big Bang, right? The Big Bang is back there somewhere. Resurrection is not important unless you subjectively assign its importance. Christian. Other than that, nah, dude, it's not important. Christians believing in one God are atheists to 2,999 gods from human history. Us atheists don't believe in just one more. This is true. I don't mind you saying I don't believe in either. That's fine. But you can't say whether our justice is important. One mythical story is just as important to me as the other. I should specify to me specifically. I understand that Christianity has probably had, and definitely today, has a bigger hold on society. And the idea, therefore, of the resurrection has a bigger hold on society than leprechauns. But to me personally, they hold about the same weight. It wasn't his fault. It was Satan's fault. He rebelled against God. So isn't everything God's fault? If God creates a universe knowing what's going to happen and everything goes according to his plan and he's in charge ultimately of everything, everything is his fault, good and bad. What about the evidence of the Exodus? What evidence for the Exodus? Because there's no evidence. So much so that it practically disproves the Exodus story. No evidence of a large collection of Hebrews living in Egypt or any kind of mass exodus from Egypt, where we would expect to see such evidence. Well, there's no way we couldn't see such evidence. We have not found evidence. So he couldn't harm God, so he harmed his creation. And God just kind of lets it happen. That's fine, Drew. You can think about the resurrection as you want, but the concept of people not escaping their evil actions in this life is not on par with $1 under your pillow. But I have no reason to believe in any of it. It's all just stories. I like ice cream. The idea of a unicorn in the sky that makes ice cream for us forever after we die, if we live good lives, sounds fantastic to me. But that doesn't make that unicorn there. It's like I understand that one story has a little bit more weight than the other, but they're both just stories to me. Does your cat support the release of the Epstein files? I certainly hope so. Okay, the Big Bang, look up Genesis 1:3. What does Genesis 1:3 say? I'm not going to look it up. It seems pretty upset that they haven't been released yet.
When I was holding up Peanut.
She demands it. She demands it.
She's demanding.
I didn't say they held the same weight. I said one is clearly more important than the other. That means one holds more weight. Is how I meant the weight thing. It's not, though. That's your opinion as a member of this cult or whatever you are. To everyone else, it's just another tooth fairy. Where is the evidence for the Big Bang? Cosmic background radiation, things continuing to move through space, even though there's no reason that anything should be moving because there's no other force to act upon stuff. Things like that. A Google search can help with that. Recent discoveries show bones and coral reefs in the shape of chariots. You should research it. I've seen it, and it's not... Are you talking about like in the Dead Sea or in the Red Sea? Dead Sea, Red Sea, Red Sea. I always get them mixed up. Are you talking about in the Red Sea? So to be fair, it's probably fair to say the resurrection story has been more consequential on a global scale than unicorns, so I suppose it's important in that sense. Still an opinion, still a lie. So one story has more weight than the other. We can agree on that. Not to me, but to everyone else, to the world, sure. The resurrections and the concept of justice are more weighty, and clearly more weighty to the world than $1 under the pillow. Yes. And God said, let there be light, and light came to be. Yeah, that was before he made the earth and light and vegetations, before he made the sun, which the sun came before everything else. Because the sun wasn't made to give light. The sun was made to govern the day once day and night and light was already there. According to the Bible. Let's try this a different way. If we were wrong about leprechauns, and they really did exist, what would change in your life in any way, any real way? Have you looked into the mythology of leprechauns? There are some ancient beings and fairies and mythical creatures that would fuck shit up, according to the story, if you didn't do something correctly. There can absolutely be little menaces. just to keep it 100, Mark, if you took a worldwide poll, I promise you more people would say the tooth fairy bucks are more important than if just to diminish, and more important, even if just to diminish Christianity. Most humans are not Christian. Yes, that is fair. So yes, I'm agreeing that, like, to other people, and perhaps if we can try to look at some objective way, I can see why this resurrection thing would be more important than, say, money under the pillow. I'm just saying that they both have as much the same amount of weight to me. They are both just stories to me. I realized I was an atheist since I was 10. I like watching your live streams. And Justin from Deconstruction Zone 2, he's a good one. I'm enjoying this peaceful, respectful debate. Kudos to you all. It is nice. You're being obtuse. I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm really not. Yes, the Discovery is the only place it would make sense. There's a trail about 1.5 miles long. He's there, though. So just looking at the AI, the quick AI overview, which you know is always accurate. No physical evidence of chariots in the Red Sea from biblical Exodus has not been found. The credible archaeologists and scholars widely dispute the claims of those who say they have found them. The claim originated with Ron Wyatt, whose work has been discredited by scholars, and many artifacts he claimed to find have been explained as natural formations or have not been found by other researchers. While the biblical text describes the drowning of Pharaoh's chariots, the historical and archaeological consensus is that the Exodus did not occur as described. And that is consistent with other things that I've read and heard concerning the chariots in the Red Sea, concerning the Exodus account and all of that stuff. Psst, don't eat that. So, no one tries to be obtuse. That's not true. Well, if you want to say, well, people think a leprechaun is God, then yeah, they are just as important. I've admitted multiple times that on a bigger scale, if you ask like more than one people, yeah, Christian gods, these ideas of gods carry more weight than leprechauns. Me personally, they both carry the same amount of weight. If evolution was a fact, there would be a middle ground, and we would have half monkey, half humans. Where is that? We have a lot of transitional fossils. I'm not the one to ask. If you want to learn about evolution, you should look up Forrest Valkai's video series, The Light of Evolution. It is a great crash course in evolution that'll explain it a lot better than me. We do have fossil records. We do have transitional fossils, a lot of them. But I'm not even going to try to defend that. I would recommend looking at Forrest Valkai's channel. Kitchen. Kitten. Katish, katish.
You're just being extra tonight.
Katish, katish.
Wanting your attention, right?
Katish, katish. Katish, katish.
You see, it's so nice. You can sit on my lap, and I don't feel claws digging into me. It's great.
Genesis 1:16, God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. Cool. There's video footage, you should check it out for yourself. Video footage of what? Chariots? Mike, us and monkeys evolved separately from a shared common ancestor. True. Yeah, that's another thing. We didn't evolve from monkeys. Humans, monkeys, and apes all evolved from a common ancestor. And we have transitional fossils from us to that common ancestor. I apologize for my misspeaking earlier. I think that fact of how far we have advanced in 100 years proves mankind hasn't been around for tens of thousands of years. I disagree. I think the fact how far we've advanced in 100 years proves mankind hasn't been around for tens of thousands of years. I disagree. No, you're right. In the past 100 years, we've made great advancements because we stumbled upon shit that helped us make better and faster advancements. The more you have and the more you figure it out, the more momentum you can have and the faster you can get going. And we've just kind of done that in the past 100 years or so. So what happens after you die? I think as far as you, your consciousness, your thoughts, feelings, memories, all of that stuff, uh, the, I think all of that is a product of chemical reactions in the brain is probably the best explanation we have. So when you die, those chemical reactions kind of stop. So from your perspective, you essentially ceases to exist. And your body and energy, carry on, decompose, do whatever. And that's what happens. I don't think humans have ever had a transitional ancestor that was monkey. That was monkey-like. It went from small rodent thing to really basic apes. And then we have tons of evidence of that, including fossils. Yeah. I think that's right. And I just don't understand that. Justice matters. Leprechauns don't bring justice. The resurrection does. It doesn't. The resurrection... I mean, you heard me give my spiel about how I feel about the resurrection. It's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. You heard the message of our Savior, Doug. Transitional fossils have been around for millions of years. We would have clear as day evolution. I'm sorry. Transitional fossils we have... I'm sorry. I might be not reading this. Transitional fossils we have been around millions of years. We would have clear as day evolution in the process. We have had clear as day evolution, and it's evident in the fossil records. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. Hi, I'm a furry. Nice. All creatures evolved from the same sludge. Why so many different species? Why can't I have babies with a cat? Why should I trust my brain if it was made by accident? Well, we can trust our brains because it's just kind of all we have to go off of. It's just kind of what we're equipped with. Maybe your brain is completely wrong and we're all just, I don't know. Maybe you can't trust your senses or anything, but it's about the best we got to go off of, so we kind of go with it. Breeding between species just kind of doesn't work. Some species literally cannot breed together. And things don't... The end result isn't great between breeding species, so it just doesn't work. It's just not how evolution and nature has come to work.
Sure, the main one I've heard about was the liger.
The liger?
The liger.
I don't think that's real.
I feel like it's...
I don't know. Yes, you can say it's stupid. I get that. But the concept matters. Sure. Concept of justice matters. I can give you that. Because we've made it matter. Because justice is a human construct that we've come up with. Is it actually?
It is. Yes.
I'll be damned.
Hybrid offspring of a male lion and female tiger.
Some species can. But not all species can interbreed. What was I saying? For it to matter, you have to demonstrate objective morals, which you can't. You have for it to objectively matter. Justice matters because we want it to matter, because of how we've pieced together our society.
They're the largest of all known cats, often exceeding the size of both their parents.
Kitten.
Both their parent species.
In an atheist belief, humans are just as significant as animals. So an atheist belief isn't really a thing. Atheism is just the lack of belief in a god. So, whatever. But, in some more naturalistic worldview, without the spiritual stuff. Yeah, I mean, pretty significant along with animals, I would say. Jesus is going to come back. It's better to know him now than to not know him when he comes back, brother. I say this out of love. Cool.
Migers cannot really reproduce because male ligers are sterile.
Yeah.
I'm reading into this now, man.
You've gone down a rabbit hole. Go outside, my friend. Look at the stars, the sky, the trees. That alone we know there's an intelligent being behind creation. No. Look at the trees. Yeah, you can do a little better than that. It's like you look at your shirt, you know it didn't just appear. You know someone created it because we know how shirts work. We understand the process of somebody coming up with the idea of making the shirt, and then that shirt being on me, after I cut the sleeves off of it. We can track that entire process from start to finish. We don't have that with a God.
Huh?
I'd say we shouldn't lean on our understanding Why? Because our feelings are ever changing and we can be wrong at times. We shouldn't trust in ourselves, who isn't 100% correct every time, I believe. Yeah, we could always be wrong. Lots of engagement tonight. I appreciate it. I'm actually having a little bit of trouble keeping up with chat, which isn't the worst problem to have.
Oh my gosh, look at how many hybrid animals there are. I didn't know there were so many.
Yeah, some of them can. I believe Jesus is the way. There is historical evidence that he lived, that he is God based off of signs and wonders. It's not really evidence. So justice isn't actually real. It's just a matter of it's good for society. Again, I don't buy that. Sorry.
I didn't know this one. There's a whale and dolphin. Hybrid animal.
So do we have souls? I don't believe we do. We don't need to make true statements about the lies beyond the edge of the scientific understanding, about what lies beyond the edge of scientific understandings. But we sure as hell can state confidently that a myth is a myth. I just believe in one less God. Yeah. Once we reach the edge of scientific understanding, that which we have proper evidence to believe in, we can just say, I don't know what's beyond there. We don't have to play God of the gaps and attribute it to some, divine deity that we have no reason to believe. So then it would be sick to have an animal as a pet, and taking a human life is equal to taking an animal life. Equal concept. Equals, correct? I sometimes think so, honestly. I mean, my pets are part of the family. They get treated well, better than they would be in the wild. Mm-hmm. And they get love and they love us. But no, I absolutely agree that there is a conversation to be had there. I go to zoos and I look at some of the animals, especially some of the monkeys and gorillas and stuff. There was a gorilla sitting in front of the glass one day when I went, and he was just sitting there just watching the audience, just calm, serene, just watching the people. I was like, this dude looks wiser than everybody in this room, and he's in a cage. Why? So there's definitely a good conversation to be had there.
How did I not know that a mule, you know mules, they're a hybrid animal?
Mm-hmm.
How did I not know that?
It's not the most common information.
How did I not know that?
It's okay. It's not the most common information.
Because I know mules.
Jesus proved himself to be God historically. Don't you agree? No. But science books were written by men too. Yeah. As we're trying to figure out the world around us. Have you ever researched the historical evidence of Jesus? I have. And it's, like I said, I have I said earlier, you might not have heard this. I have no problem at all with the idea that there was a dude who existed, made some claims, gained a following, and got executed. It's fine. I have no problem with that. We have nothing for the divine stuff. We don't even know that the stuff that, even the Gospels and what he said and did, we don't really have evidence for. We can kind of get this dude existed to some extent, but beyond that, we're just don't really have too much credible.
So there's Liger. There's also a Tigan, depending on if it's
Okay, Mom.
a female tiger and a male lion, or a
Even
male
every other
tiger and a
religion
female.
acknowledges Jesus. Every other religion. Every other religion. If you don't mind me asking why you turned from the faith, my friend, I was a devout Christian, dedicated to the Christian God, wanted to become an apologist, spread God's light, love, and message as far as I could, to the whole world if I could. And if you don't if you don't know what an apologist is, just debate stage, someone who goes and spreads the faith and defends the faith. And I took an apologist class in high school. And it was in that class where I realized I was not equipped with the knowledge or information or skills to do that. You know, if I get put on a debate stage, I'm going to lose. So I dove into my studies to try to be the best apologist, evangelist, activist for God that I could. And when I did that, you know, studying Christianity, Christian scripture, history, other religions, their history, their scriptures, scientific explanations for things, arguments for and against the existence of a God, just, you know, whatever I might need in that field of, like, is there a God or not? Should we believe in this stuff or not? I'm not saying this as a blanket statement, but for a lot of people, when you really dive into stuff and you really look into those studies, you peek behind the curtain. You see the man behind the curtain. You see kind of maybe this stuff really isn't that credible or divine, or these stories really aren't that unique, or this story kind of sounds like this story, or we have no reason to believe in any of these. They're all using faith as justification, which isn't good justification. And just all of that, over the course of about 7 years, I slowly just drifted away from my faith. And in the end, I lost my faith because I realized I have no reason to believe in anything supernatural whatsoever, especially nothing supernatural or divine about the Bible or Christianity or anything like that. And even if it was real, the God of the Bible's kind of a monster, and I wouldn't want to follow him even if he was real. I will probably end the live stream soon. There's your warning. A great peaceful debate. I try. Because gorillas believe in justice, but not leprechauns. Maybe. She Drew, you have found your niche. Calm, non-combative debates. You're like the only guy doing it. I like that. It's definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd get more clicks and more views, and might be monetized by now if I was a little bit more combative. You know, if I was making those Stitch videos like this dumb Christian thinks, and that's just not me. That's not my vibe. That's not how I want to do things. And it might be shooting me in the foot, but I don't know. Are you happy? Rarely. Canines and felines, etc., are different kinds. The Bible separates them so that is why we see dogs, wolves, and cats and lions. Sure, I don't really think... I wouldn't separate species based on kinds, but, you know. What would make you believe in a higher power? God, afterlife, etc.? And what is your opinion on why people would feel the need to spread the gospel for a few thousand years, besides the few money churches? You know, money. I like to joke of, like, I know I have morals, because if I didn't, I would absolutely switch this account to a Christian account, and I would probably be so monetized. I'd probably, because I used to do all kinds of preaching, you know, online and stuff, not to any grand audience at all, mostly just Facebook friends. But I was considered to be pretty good at it, and I helped a lot of people in their faith, and I brought people back to the faith, you know, who were starting to waver,
Except
Helped a lot of people in their faith, except you.
you tried your
Um,
hardest.
and I tried my hardest, but what can you do? So I could do it. I would be so much more successful, and it would be so much more lucrative for me to switch hats, especially now. Can you imagine, after like 2 years of posting this content, having that change of heart? That having being able to have that testimony or whatever of, I was once a sinful atheist and I turned. I'd be making bucks. I'd be getting so many followers and stuff, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. So I'm not going to do it. So even if this never takes off or anything, this is still what I want to do and how I want to do things. I don't think that answered your question at all. No, I got on a tangent. I'm sorry. I don't know what would make me believe in a higher power. I really don't. I do like to say when it comes to the Christian God, and God's, like him, an all-knowing God would know what it would take to convince me of his existence. An all-powerful God would be able to do what it takes to convince me he exists. And an all-loving God who wants to have a relationship with me would want to do what it takes to make me believe he exists. Because it's also important to remember, belief isn't a matter of free will. You don't get to choose your beliefs. You're either convinced enough of something to warrant a belief, or you're not. So it would not be a violation of free will for God to reveal himself. He would reveal himself, and then it would be up to me and anyone else to decide if we want to follow him or not. So that's the answer I give to like gods like the Christian God. But apart from that, I have no idea what real evidence would be or what it would look like. Why people feel the need to spread the gospel for a few thousand years? Because you're if you're taught, especially people who are indoctrinated from a young age and taught from a young age, that this is the end all, be all, most important thing, that this is how you should structure your life, that this does determine your afterlife, that there is a whole war between heaven and hell, good and evil going on, and this is how it works. You get passionate about it, and you'd want to go and defend that. That's what it is. It's just people being taught to fully believe that this is something that's real. And there's a lot of manipulation tactics that go into making people believe in that stuff. But a lot of people have given their lives for things that they believe in, things that aren't even religions. So that's just what religion is, just something that really draws people in, and people put a lot of stock in, and they give their lives to. Were you more happy in a state of being a believer? No. Nice chatting. Take care. Take care, Mark. Thank you for stopping by. Can you agree the Ten Commandments would make the world a better place? I don't see one that would make the world worse. I don't really care about the Ten Commandments, I'm going to be honest with you. There's some good ones and some kind of like irrelevant ones, and some that I don't agree with. Because let's go through that real quick. I want to get caught up on chat before I have to leave, so I won't spend too much time on this. And yes, I'm looking up the Ten Commandments because I don't want to try to think about it and go through them off the top of my head. Thou shalt not have the first 3 or 4, depending on what Ten Commandments you're looking for, are just about follow and believe in this God. That doesn't really matter for society. It really kind of doesn't. Honor your father and mother. Sure, some parents don't deserve to be honored, and you shouldn't honor them, and you should try to push back if you can, and maybe cut ties with them once you get out from underneath their thumb. Don't kill. Good. Don't commit adultery. Adultery is a shitty thing to do. Cheating is pretty shitty. I can agree. Don't steal. I can agree. Don't bear false witness. Don't do perjury. I can agree. Thou shalt not covet. Can go either way, Don't covet it so much that you're obsessed with it and you want to take something that doesn't belong to you or whatever, or you're comparing your life to others, and so making yourself miserable because there will always be someone who has something more than you, and making yourself miserable because you don't think you have enough. But saying, I want that better life, can even act as a good motivator for you to better yourself.
Certain things to strive for.
Certain things to strive for. So out of the 10 Commandments, I can ride with kill, adultery, steal, not doing those, and like perjury is pretty good too. So like 4 out of 10. The others are just kind of whatever. Because that's another thing. People like to say that, the Ten Commandments would be better for society. When the first 3 or 4 are just follow this God, follow this God, follow this God, then you're just saying that your religion is better for society, which is a whole different conversation. I have heard of Jonah, the prodigal son, and all that stuff. Forget the money, we stand on truth. That's what I'm trying to do. What I find interesting too is the geography and religion. Depending where people are from, they always seem to be born into the right religion. This is true. I'm not going to read everyone's because I am going to try to catch up with chat. Would your girlfriend feel more loved if you locked her up or if you gave her the choice to love you? That's true love. Then we can choose to love. Sure, I can agree. I just don't think multiple people will die for a lie. Very rare to find that. Can't you agree? Unless they don't know it's a lie. Oh, I'm caught up with chat. Cool. Unless they don't know it's a lie. And there are some people who might die for a lie because being remembered in the eyes of history to some people is a form of immortality. It's making their mark on the world, making sure that they are remembered after they are gone. And that can be a reason for someone to die for something that they know is false. But for a lot of these, I think it's people dying for something that they fully believe in. The people who flew planes into buildings on 9/11 fully believed that that was the right thing to do for their God. That's what they were willing to die for. And people have died for things that aren't even gods or religions. And the girlfriend thing, Mike, is an interesting thing. Because I like to bring up hell. With the Christian God, it's love me, serve me, follow me, believe in me, all that stuff, or I'm going to torture you for all of eternity. That's not love. If my daughter grows up and wants nothing to do with me, I'm not going to make it my personal mission to make sure that she suffers for her entire life. I will want her to be happy, with or without me. So, an all-loving being who actually cares for us. Because you can be a decent human being, but just say, fuck you, God, and according to some people, everyone has a different idea of what gets you into heaven and what doesn't. Nobody knows what they're talking about. But even if you're a decent being, you could still go to hell for not believing. And if you're a terrible being, you can go to heaven for believing and repenting on your deathbed or whatever. Why isn't there an in-between? And not just a temporary one like purgatory. Why isn't there a nice, good place that I can go that isn't eternal suffering just because I reject God? Why does it have to be love me or I will torture you forever? That's not love. It is disgusting. Agreed, except we need him and he doesn't need us. He showed himself to me. When I needed him most, I asked him because I knew I was broken and in need of a Savior. I pray that you get there. I'm not going to discount your story. If something happened to you that's helped you improve in your life and keep going, I'm not going to shit on that directly. Thought you wanted a God to force his way to love you and show you his love. Just my understanding. Great respect for the debate. Stay safe. Good night. Good on you for throwing God's threat of eternal punishment. Free will, my ass. God doesn't send anyone to hell. He gives us the free will to pick and choose whether we want a relationship with him or not. And if we don't want a relationship with him, he'll make us suffer for all of eternity. That's fucked. Those who refuse to accept God's grace of forgiveness of sins will die, and their sin with Jesus was the only one to die and took the punishment for our sins. I think this is purgatory, just my thoughts. Not really fully a belief out here. Yeah, purgatory, more traditionally, is just like an in between of like, hey, you're getting to heaven, just not quite ready yet. We got to burn some of that guck off you first. The penalty of sin is death. We all die. I like you, Drew. You have a calm demeanor. Great talk. Take care. I'll see you soon. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. We had some good conversations tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, everyone who engaged in chat, anyone who even stopped by for even a second. I'm a random nobody on the internet. I don't deserve anyone's time or attention or anything like that. So the fact that anyone's willing to give me even a second of their time means a lot to me. And people staying and chatting and subscribing or whatever, don't move the stool, it means so much to me. And I love being able to come here and interact with people. And just interacting with chat. Especially, I'm still a small content creator, so chat's still like small enough and slow enough for me to engage in chat. It's nice. And we have good conversations. A lot of people have good conversations, bringing up good stuff tonight. And it was good. I enjoyed it. I loved it. So thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have an amazing rest of your night, day, whenever it is, wherever you are. I usually go live every Tuesday night at about 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. If I can fit in extra live streams throughout the week, I will. I usually can't, but don't be completely thrown off guard if I go live on a Saturday or whatever. It's happened. But usually I do try to aim for one a week on Tuesday. And if I have to move it, I usually will post that on my YouTube. Be like, hey, I'm going to do it Wednesday night. Or like tonight, I wanted to do it a little bit closer to 9 o'clock. It was more 9:15. What can you do? But I try to keep you guys updated with stuff like that. Except for last week, I went live 8:30 without telling anyone, and a bunch of my regulars showed up at like 9:30, and I'm like getting ready to leave. They're like, "What the fuck do you mean you've been live for an hour? What do you mean?" I dropped the ball on that one. I apologize. For anyone who's thrown off and missed the first hour because I wasn't supposed to be live. I went live an hour early without telling anyone. But I try to keep people up to date on that. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope to see you all again.